So yeah, let me start. So I'll just a brief introduction about myself. So I'm Vijay Pravin Maharajan. I work as a data analytics expert with Siemens, Germany. I live in Germany since 2013. So I've been living here since I came for my masters. I did my bachelor's in Engineering College, which is affiliated to Anna University, and I came for my masters long back, and I did bachelor's in electrical engineering, and also related to the uh, regarding my masters, I also did the same with electronics. So what am I doing in data science field? That is the thing that I also wanted to tell you in this session. So I'll tell you why I picked data storytelling. So there are a lot of data professionals and a lot of data geeks in and around the world who are speaking about machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, building models and algorithms. But there are very few who talk about how to build a story, how to be clear and convincing when it comes to data story. So as I said, I came to Germany for my masters and I started working here. And now I work with Siemens. I'm also a TEDx speaker, by the way. So I just spoke in a TEDx event recently. So that's in short about me. So let's move into the topic. As I said, data storytelling. Why it is so important? So we live in a world where we are dominated by data. I mean, we all know that data is the new oil. Everybody is talking about data, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So we need to know, we need to make sure that we form a story out of it. So why do we need a data storytelling? So I hope most of you are into movies. I mean, like everybody watches movies literally. For instance, I like kind of thrillers and action kind of genres. And some of you might be into love or romantic or in any kind of genre. So there are like different genres. But what is the common thing? It is the story. And we also read a lot of books. For instance, we also watch a lot of series, web series. So again, what is the common thing? It is again the story which connects the data. So yes, that is why we need a data storytelling. So what about stories? What about uh, the stories that revolve around in web series, movies, and books? I mean, it could be powerful. I have seen a lot of friends who gets inspired from a lot of stories online or in a book. So it can be powerful, it can be memorable, and sometimes it can be funny as well. So stories are kind of, it gives you an idea, it gives where you should take yourself into. It can be emotional sometimes and it can be captivating as well. So it is actually interesting, but when it comes to data, it is definitely not. Believe me, a data is pretty boring. So it'll be like a drive for most of the people. And for instance, people need to be sure that they understand data. So sometimes it gets nasty, it can be nerdy, and it is also something impersonal. So why do you have to care about something that uh, that is on available online? So let's say if somebody sells these many number of items online, then why should I have to care about it? All I need is just one item which is required for me. And I'm not really into things that are sold. And sometimes it is also vague. So what what in what way we need to build a story? So for instance, if you have the context, so first getting into the context, like understanding the context is pretty important when it comes to data visualization. So just give me a second. There's a text. Sorry. Yeah. So understanding the concept is pretty vital. I mean, like it has to, you need to first understand what you're going to project, and then slowly you need to start thinking about what kind of visualization you need to consider. So for me, I mean, like there are so many data charts, like starting from bar chart, there is gun chart, there is KPI charts. So there are so many. And the other thing is you need to make sure that there are no clutters. So clutters in the sense there could be a lot of information you can convey with the story. So you need to make sure what to keep and what not to keep. That is more important. So these kind of things you will learn by experience. I mean, like it doesn't come overnight. I mean, you cannot simply go to bed and wake up with a unique data storytelling idea. So you need to keep on practicing it, keep on practicing it. So I'll tell you one thing. So uh, fly. So some of you might have fears traveling by flight. Of course, I mean even I did when I first took my first flight to Germany. So that is most common, right? But flying is more secure than traveling by roads. So I bet most of you would never agree with this line. So it is true. Data, there is data convincing this particular story. So it is such things. I mean, like we have a conception, but there is something behind that where we have a lot of data to convince it. So we need to be clear and convincing here in order to tell a convincing story. So you need to think about the proper visualization. You need to be make sure that there is no point of clutters there. And at the end, as I said, we need to be telling a good story. So most of you might have seen this particular thing from Spotfire, right? Like they'll be having the numbers playing around at the end of every year. So at the end of 2017, 2018, and 2019, even by the end of this year, you can expect the same from Spotify. These are kind of stories that they build in order to engage with the audience. So they'll tell you what are the top artists that you listen to, what are the top songs that you are listening to, and they'll also tell you like numbers, what how many minutes did you listen to Spotify this year. So these kind of things are making it interesting for the audience. I mean, like they'll indulge you, they'll uh, make you listen to the Spotify again. For instance, I haven't logged on to my Spotify for a while, but this is kind of thing that pops in your mailbox at the end of every year, and you tend to open your Spotify. So that is the way that people make you open what you haven't opened for a while, and it also tells you a story. I mean, like I have seen many people posting this on their social media platforms. For instance, like sharing it on Instagram, Facebook. Some even share it on LinkedIn as well. So that is another case. But yeah, that is one such story that is always compelling. If you ask me, I can also tell you another example. I mean, like Uber also does the same. So they'll tell you how many days since you joined Uber and what are the topmost cities that you travel in a while. And for instance, I live in Munich, Germany. So what are the cities I'm gonna travel most? Probably to Frankfurt or to Berlin, right? So these kind of stories, like it gives you a fair bit of idea what you are doing and what you were doing in the past. So uh, storytelling is is a unique thing. So as I said, it's not about working on algorithms or any kind of uh, models, building models. So you need to be convincing your customers with a proper story, and that is where you will be selling your data products to any clients or customers. So that is more important. That is equally important to building a model. So, and another example is the mother of all. I mean, like Google, it also does the same. So, for instance, last year we had the ICC Cricket World Cup. So, since most of the cricketing population is from Asia, we would have, of course, had a lot of traffic looking at browsing about the players or the World Cups and so on. So, these are kind of things that, again, as I said, it will tell you what has happened in the past, what has happened in the last year, and yes, I mean, like it is every company takes it as a unique way. I mean, like in order to tell a story, they'll probably take any stuff, so that and they'll put it into an order at the end of every year. So telling a story and who is important? I mean, audience or always important? I mean, like, so in a sense, we'll consider audience into two categories. One main category is being active or passive. So let's say you guys who are on the call right now are sort of active audiences, and some of the guys or passive, or I'll call it reading audience. So they'll be logging into the call later on, or they'll be logging into the video, and they'll be checking it out later. So they'll be more passive. So they won't be having any live sort of interaction um, with me, for instance, in this call. But these are the two main categories. And there is also another classification of audience where you need to see whether they are in the field, in the line of field that you're talking, or off the field. So for instance, if let's say I'm doing this video for GUVi channel, GUVi sharing channel. So most of the audience could probably be students or working professionals in and around Chennai, or probably across India. So I shouldn't be um, sort to say catering the needs of elderly people, particularly those who are at home. So this is more of a technical video where you need to at least know what is data science, and you need to understand a little bit of concepts what I am speaking about. So that is the classification between in the field and off the field audience. So that is more important. And I would say, in my opinion, prepare a general topic so that you can also modify it later. You can always um, go for the next step. I mean, you can always go an extra mile when it comes to data storytelling. So these are the two main classifications or main categories when it comes to audience. One is active and passive, and the another one is in the field and off the field audience. So that is really important when it comes to setting up the platform. So when it comes to data storytelling, you need to make sure that these factors are taken into consideration. So what are the three main things that gives you a clear bit of idea? As I said, one is data science and one is visualization. So in every teams nowadays, in every teams, literally there are three main uh, topics. I mean, three main streams. So there is a data science team, there is a data engineering team where we will work with handling the data, AWS and stuff. And there is a data visualization team as well. So even if you have a data science team and a data visualization team, the thing that is also equally important is narration team. So I mean, you can't call it a team, but that is also equally important when it comes to data storytelling. So you have the data, you work around, you build a model out of it, and you have the visualization, which can be used to convince the clients and customers. So what do you do? I mean, you have the data, you have the visualization. So you need to fill the gap, right? So you need to have the sort of what to say. I mean, narration, a clear, structured story, so that you can link the data and the visualization. So that is, sorry, I'm getting an interruption again. Yeah. So we already saw the three important factors: data, visuals, and narration, right? So let's break it down. So let's say if we have the data and the narrative, what is it? It explains you the data. So you can see the numbers, you can tell the numbers, you can say these many number of things has happened in the past, these many number of items have been sold. So you can explain it in a better way. And there is also a thing where you see data and visuals. So you have the data and you have the visuals. What it does, it sort of enlightens you. So it gives a fair bit of idea about uh, what you want to present, and what are the figures, what are the annual figures. So every sort of industry, they do a lot of reporting. So be it quarterly report or half yearly report, or at the end of every year, you once you are into professional life, you will hear a lot about reporting and stuff. So it's all about building reports and sending it around to all the teams. It is also good in a way where you can see the real figures and charts. So it helps improve you as an entity, and at the same time it also gives you to showcase what you have done in the teams in the past. So it can also be helpful in leveraging various teams. So what is it with the narration and visuals? I mean, it engages with the audience, like I am doing now. So I call it a triple E factor. So explain, enlighten, and engage. So these are the three factors or the parameters that you need to be considering. I mean, this is really vital when it comes to data storytelling. And for instance, as I said, data scientist, of course, a lot of data scientists are really good. Believe me, they have seen a lot of impressive data scientists across the globe. And what are they good at? They are good at building models, knowing a lot of algorithms, and some of them are really good into statistics. So, what skills do they lack? So, some of the data scientists, they lack this data storytelling. I mean, don't get offended. There are a lot of data scientists or data professionals who are really good at data storytelling, but some do lack these skills. So this is what is equally important, as I said, to the algorithms and models. So you should be also keeping an eye on this particular topic, because this brings you a lot of project and this wins you a lot of project. So be it any client, be it a small or a bigger client, you always need to pitch in a product, and you need to make sure that you have that product. So that's why we need to be sure that we have a good and convincing story. So there are a lot of data points and data topics that revolves in and around the team. So you need to make sure that you build a story. So that is one thing. And just a second, I'm again getting text from the channel. So, and do you guys have any question? I mean, you can always post it on GUVi sharing YouTube channel, which is streaming it live, and you can also post it via Zoom, which is the platform that we are currently using. Just a second, let me have a look at the questions. Yeah. So, anything that I missed out? Did I miss out on anything? No. So, and yeah, I mean, as I said, you can always post your questions on YouTube and this Zoom channel as well. So this channel is sort of private, and you can always do that. And you can also interact with me in Tamil. Since I'm a Tamilian, I come from Tirunelveli. You can always post your questions in Tamil as well. So as you said, just keep three things in mind when it comes to data storytelling. It is all about asking what, what, what is it for, and why, and then so what. So these are the three factors that you need to ask yourself before developing a story, before building a story. So which has to be pretty clear to each and every one of you. Yes. Mhm. Yes. So I'm open for questions. I kept it rather short. So if you have any questions, please do pitch in. Yes, I'm getting a question here. தமிழ்ல கூட பேசலாம் சொன்ன மாதிரி. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, data science opportunities when it comes to data science opportunities after COVID. It is also an important question. So right now we are in a tricky situation, so nobody is uncertain about what next. So make sure that you build your profile. So make sure that you do certifications, you do a course. So if you are rich enough and if you have time, go for a master's. I would say that's the best option in this highly competitive world. And do a lot of certifications. Take up certifications from platforms like GUVi, for instance. They have a really good online platform. And you can also take courses from Udemy, um, Linda from LinkedIn. That is really nice. So you can always do that. And yes, prepare yourself for the wave. I mean, as soon as this is over, for sure there is going to be a big wave. And I have a question from Aravind. How do you get into the field of data science? Where could we get started with? So as I said, I have nothing to do with data science from my educational background. So I did electronics and instrumentation in my engineering back in India, and then I also did a similar course in my masters where I specialized in electronics. So I got an opportunity where I was working as a student with a company called Telefonica in Germany. So while I was working there, I got a chance to work along with data science team. So that is where it all started, and from there on, I started working on small sets of data, building little models, and I was also doing an internship with them. So after the internship, I was able to get a master thesis with them. So that catapulted me into this field, to be honest. So building a lot of certifications, building your profile, doing an internship, for instance. Uh, get an internship, be it paid or unpaid. Just go for it. That is always good, and it helps you get into the right path. So yes, that is where I get started with Arvind. And you shouldn't have to worry about your background. Your background doesn't matter. So you can be a mechanical engineer, you can be a biomedical. So all you need is a thrust, is something that pulls you and pushes you into this field. You just be attentive, pick out small set of data which is available anywhere in the internet, and you can also start solving Kaggle problems. So you can Kaggle problems, or some of them are really interesting. You can pick them. You can build a GitHub repository. You can save it, which can be used for later. So for instance, right now, as we are in a competitive world, there are a lot of people who ask for another resume as well. So you can also showcase your GitHub repository as your alternate resume. And there is a question from Gopinath: what are the skills required for freshers to enter into data science field? In a way, you should be able to code Python, because most of the industries do either work with Python or R language, and you can also work with. You need to have some basics of SQL skills, and in some cases you need to also have an idea of data visualization tools, that is like Tableau, uh, Spotfire, and ClickSense. So the reason why I didn't uh, tell you any tools in this particular session is, I mean, like, I don't want to market any particular tool. That is where I need to be really clear. So in my opinion, Tableau is really good. Spotfire is kind of good. ClickSense is good. Power BI is good. So these are skills you can always acquire by practice. Mhm. And yeah, what what else? So yeah, I would also like to thank GUVi sharing YouTube channel and the GUVi team, entire team. So they have been doing a 30-day webinar outreach, just to support the students and all the professionals working around. So they do have a really good online platform where you can stuff your skills up, ramp up your skills. That is one thing. And yes, they have a lot of webinar. I mean, like, they have a webinar at 11 o'clock by Indian time, I mean, and they also have a session in the evening. So subscribe to the GUVi sharing channel, and make sure that you get along with some of their webinars. Some of them are really useful. To be honest, yesterday I saw a video on content writing and content sharing. It was really good. So you will hear from various topics. I mean, not only data or IT. There are also videos in regional languages, like videos in Tamil as well. So it's a really good channel to follow. And another question: so what are the qualifications that a company will expect to pick up as a data science intern? So as a data science intern, the criteria won't be too many. So they'll be probably expecting you to have at least some basics with respect to either statistics or engineering, or solid platform with mathematics, and probably a couple of certifications. So let's say certifications from some of the platforms will help you land in a data science intern job. But it is always good to have a GitHub repository, as I said. Just make sure that you take out some data from Kaggle competitions or any data available online, and make something out of it. So that will be able to convince somebody who is interviewing you. So just go for it. And you can also follow me on LinkedIn or any other social media platforms. So I can always help you out as well. Yes. Thanks, Arvind, and thanks, Gopinath. So okay guys, then I thank you again for being such a humble audience, for being patient and learning something out of me. So let's keep growing, and we grow by lifting others. So always have that in mind. Help someone who is actually struggling a bit. And yeah, wish you all the very best. Thanks Vishal. Thanks Gopi. And thanks Arvind. Thanks Yogesh. Thank you. Thank you Lalita.